Hey guys, it's Ashton. Welcome to Muse Themes. Today we're going to check out our Flipping Boxes widget. It's a rather simple widget in functionality, but it really adds a tasteful effect that you can use to display content in a more interactive way. From the demo here, you can see we have a variety of different transitions for the flip. And the widget is unique in that it doesn't lock you into any kind of set framework for how you build your boxes. You can actually build these boxes from scratch, and all you have to do is link it to the widget with a graphic style. So it's very adaptable and rather easy to use, and we'll jump into Muse and take a closer look. Now when you download the widget, you're going to get the mulib file here for the widget itself, but it also comes with this demo assets folder, which comes with a project file with the widget already set up. So it's a good place to start if you haven't used the widget before, and you can even use the pre-made boxes as a template if you wish. So let's go ahead and take a look at that project file for a moment. Now we have 6 boxes set up here already, and you may notice that the back of the boxes aren't visible at first glance. They're actually all positioned behind the front box in this nice little layered package here. If we take a look at the graphic styles panel, I can click through the boxes and you can see each box has its own graphic style, which is what you'll use to connect it to the widget when you set it up from scratch, which we'll get to in just a moment. Now the other thing I want to point out is that if I click on one of these boxes, looking up here on the top left, you can see that this is actually a text frame. And if I click on some of the placed text inside, you can see that this is stated as inline. Now inline is when something is placed inside of a line of text, so to speak. So this widget doesn't use your classic state button or rectangle, but rather text boxes with additional text boxes and content placed inline. So this is basically a text frame within a text frame, and that's how we create these boxes for this widget. So now let's jump into a new blank project file, and I can show you how we can set this up from scratch. From our library panel, we can drag the widget out, and all you get is this little orange component that you saw a moment before. So first things first, let's create a box. So you'll want to make sure that you grab your text tool, not a rectangle and not a state button. And we'll create a nice box here. Great. Now an important note I want to make is that in the newer versions of Muse, this box is actually going to default to responsive setting. But you need to change the resizing of this to none. Now this widget will function well in responsive Muse, and it can be totally adapted and customized to change among your breakpoints. But setting the boxes themselves to responsive resizing will conflict with the browser's interpretation of the widget. So we need to keep this set at none. And let's go ahead and give the box some fill. And now I want to add some text within the box. Now you can double click on your text box and you'll see your typing cursor. But remember that we want to place a new text box inside as inline. So what we're going to do is actually create a new text box with our text tool, and we'll go ahead and give it some words. And we'll go ahead and style this up a bit. We can change the font, and we'll center it. We can make the text white as well. There we go. So now to place this text box in line, a simple cut and paste will do the trick. So what you want to do is select your text, and then we'll right click and hit cut. And now is when we can double click on our front box to reveal that cursor, and then you'll click paste. There. So you can still move your cursor around just like inside of a normal text box. And what we can do is actually add some line breaks to push this downward a bit. And we can also center its placement within the box as well. There we go. This is looking good. So now we need to create our graphic style. So we'll visit our graphic styles panel. And with our box selected, we're going to click this small icon down here to create a new style. We'll double click on it to rename it. And we'll just go with front. So now I'm going to duplicate this entire box so that we can make a back box. And we can do that by holding down the Option key on a Mac or Alt for PC. And holding down a click and dragging to the side. There. So we'll give this one a new fill color, and we can change the text as well. There we go. And keep in mind that you can cut and paste as many inline text boxes inside of this as you wish, and same goes for icons and any graphics as well. Pretty much anything you inline into your box is going to be reflected in the widget. And lastly, we need to make the new graphic style for this box, so we'll click on Make a New Style, double click on that, and we'll call it Back. And so now, just for organization, I want to go ahead and package this up nicely. So we'll make sure that the front box is sitting on the upper layer. Bring that to the front. And then we'll do the same for the widget and make sure that it's sitting on top. And we'll place it right here nicely in the corner. Now lastly, let's check out the settings panel for the widget. First prompt is for those graphic styles you created. And this already comes set to say front and back, so we don't have to change those, but just make sure that it matches whatever you're assigning to your boxes. And down here are the animation settings. There's several to pick from, which can add for a nice variety if you're using multiple boxes on a page. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to, let's do a vertical flip. It's a cool one. And the animation speed, I'm going to raise this to 0.6 seconds, which will slow it down just a bit. And lastly, let's preview it in the browser and see this in action. There. Our front box shows up first with our inline text applied. And hovering over gives us this nice slower animation as we set it. And everything's looking good. So that's our flipping boxes widget. We think members are really going to like it. And of course, if you run into any problems, don't hesitate to reach out. And thanks again for watching.